Hey guys, I'm Nick. Today we went over to Broxton Outdoors. We picked up some new Stradic 2500s. This is the latest model. They released it at ICAST in 2019 for 2020. We will use them until they release a new Stradic or we find a problem. The last variation of the Stradic was upgraded about 4 years ago. We used those, the Stradic HG, for, well, since then, without any issues. They do great. We get new ones every year. We usually sell the old ones. We don't really have any problems with them, and that's why we keep using them. The problems we do have are super minor. I'll tell you about those in a minute. And we're going to fix one of them right now before we get started. Now, these just got home. Before they go to the water, the first thing I always do is I change out the drag washers. If you're familiar with felt drag washers, that's what comes stock in these things, these three little guys. They're just felt, okay? So they tear apart like that. Obviously, they're not designed to be used like that, but that's what happens to them. Once they're compressed too long, they wear out after a lot of quality fish. So to ensure I don't have any problems while we're on the water this fall or next spring, I'm just going to switch them out to these carbontex ones right now. It's super easy to do. There's nothing to it. I get these from Keith Rawson. He owns a business called OCD Reel Repair in Gulf Breeze. I get them all from him. I don't have any issues. They work wonderful, and they make my life a lot easier because I know that I'm not going to have a washer go bad in the middle of a fishing trip. So if you're not familiar with changing out these washers, it's pretty simple. The first thing you're going to do, I've already took this one apart, okay? But the first thing you're going to do, it's a lot easier if you just take the spool off of here like so, pop that cap off. You're going to see some parts in there, which you probably can't see in this video. I'm going to show you how they come out right here. What I use to get them out is a 5/0 extra wide gap hook. I just bent that thing a long time ago outside, and I use it to pop out this snap ring. This little ring keeps these three pieces of metal in place. There's a schematic on their website. Realistically, if you do it right, you pull it out the way you put it back. You pull it out one way, you put it back how you found it. There's nothing to it. Now, we're going to coat these carbontex drag washers in this stuff right here. This is called Cow's Drag Grease. You can get it on Amazon. I'm going to put these gloves on just because I don't want to. I got a lot of 3D printing work to do today, and I don't want to get this on the computer or on any of the 3D parts we got to ship out. So I'm going to toss these gloves on just to make it easy, and I'm going to show you real quick how you do it. I usually just stick my finger in there. I grab these washers, and then you just put a real thin coat on there. And what I do is I put a real thin coat on there, like so, and I wipe it all off. You want it to get wet. You don't want it to be a whole bunch in there, but you want to coat it pretty good, and then I dry it off. You don't want any extra in there because it'll just eventually just build up and have a bunch of nasty, you call it gunk, I guess, a bunch of nasty stuff in there. So just get it real nice and clean. Just make sure it's wet, and obviously every part of it has, grease on it. Then I'm just going to set this right here for a second. I'm going to move on to the next one. Now, depending on where you get your carbontex washers at, they'll come a little different. If you look real close, one of these sides will have a slightly different texture on the other side. Now, I'm 100% positive I've put these in there incorrectly before, so don't stress about it if you don't notice it. But I usually put that different design down on the very bottom inside the spool. We're going to get them all coated up first, and I'll show you. This is really, for how, I'm not sure how much these little things actually cost to buy online. I'm not sure how much I paid Keith because I buy them in bulk every time, so I have them. You only got to switch them out once, and once you do it, it's good to go. But it is something that it takes an already really good product, and it stops you from running into any issues later. All right, so once those are coated up, we're going to take that one with the different design on it, and we're just going to put it down in here all the way to the bottom. We're going to take my cool little, how did I lose my cool little tool? There it is, boom. And just very gently make sure it goes all the way down. Should lay nice and flat on the bottom. Don't poke it too hard, you don't want to put any holes in it. Then, this piece goes first. Now this one has these little lips on it, little grooves. This guy's just gonna sit right down in there, line them up, push them down. Take your next washer, set him in place. I like to do the same thing just to make sure I know everything is properly seated. I don't pinch anything when I add the next part. Now you'll notice this piece of metal, it maybe you'll see it right there pretty good. Yeah. Fail. You see it has these little nipples on it. Those little nipples will line up inside here, which you're gonna have a hard time seeing over there. But it'll line up perfectly without any issues. Take your third and final drag washer, set it in there, same thing. Put it down. Take this guy, he has little grooves. He'll line up with the first washer you put in place. Sit down in there perfectly. Take your little snap ring, just set it in here. Push it down, push in, it'll pop into a groove. Oops, I missed. Missed again. Oops, get in there. Oh man, I'm getting rusty. Boom, she's in place. Obviously I have these little napkins right here. Just take, oops, sticking together. I just take them and I'll wipe off any of the drag grease that I may have got on the reel. And that's that. There's nothing to it. Very easy to do. Anyone can do it at home. Obviously, once you're done, you just slide this guy back on here. Tighten this back down. And you're good to go. One thing that you, it's probably loud. One thing that you will notice about the carbontex drag washers is they're a little bit different than the felt. You really have to get used to how you adjust it. It only takes a few clicks each direction to have it dialed in perfectly. It's a lot different. They don't compress over time. They don't wear out. It stays the same, okay? So we don't ever have any issues. It's a nice, easy little upgrade. And there's nothing to it. Very, very easy. Really, that's it. You saw the whole process, nothing to it. I'm going to take this one apart just so you guys can see it, but it's no big deal. All you do is find a little lip, pop that guy out. Now, ideally you can do this, and they all come out in order. Now, the only one at the bottom is this little felt washer, which he's garbage, so just get him out of there. Put him in the garbage pile. Now, it's your first time, right? You've never done it before. So just set it out in order. Top, second one, garbage. Second to last one, garbage, bottom one. Then you take this, you get it open, and you repeat everything you saw at first. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I can't get it open. We're gonna fail. Making progress. All right, so it's a lot easier to do without gloves on. Then you just put the cow's drag grease on there, restack it how you found it, and you're good to go. First glance at these new reels, obviously they're pretty nice. I don't see, too many things that are far different than the last year's or the last model Stradic. They changed the handles. There's no longer a piece that swivels here, which is kind of cool, I guess. Doesn't really make a difference at all. If you look underneath the spool, the rotor is actually a different shape. It's kind of weird. It's kind of neat. The spool itself is taller and it's shallower. If you know anything about their surf reels, they have a long cast version. And this is designed to help you cast further. I don't see any issues with what was already there, so a little bit of improvement, awesome, great. The main reason we use these is that they're sealed so well, and I've done a lot of seminars where I've showed people this stuff. Maybe hard to see here. There's a little A lot of times on a lot of your reels, there's a black like 10 millimeter nut right here that holds the rotor onto the main gear. Theirs are always covered in this little black piece, as you see right underneath here. Boom, right there. That stops any water from getting into the bottom, and that's going to make a huge difference. I don't rinse them. A lot of questions I get, Nick, how often do you spray your reels down? Do you spray them down after every trip? No, I don't ever spray water on them. Like, I am never taking the hose and spraying these things. That's like a 100% never. Like, never, ever, never. It's not happening. Maybe once a year I'll take a rag with some pledge on it or something, and I'll just wipe them off so they look pretty. They're sealed very well. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, one small issue we run into, and it's a super small issue, is this line roller bearing. We are in kayaks. Obviously, we are handing our clients quality gear. Sometimes they make mistakes and they grab the rod and they dunk the reel. If we were using something else that wasn't sealed, we'd run into a lot of problems. But since the reel is sealed very well, the only thing that ever goes bad is that line roller bearing. Now, you can source that line roller bearing for, I think it's $6.50. Obviously, I buy them like 10 at a time just so I have them, and I probably change 1 to 2 a year. So it doesn't go bad very often, but if you ever start reeling your reel and you hear a but you only hear that noise when there's pressure on the line, like there's a lure attached. You cut your lure off and you do it and you can't hear it. It's because that bearing isn't spinning freely anymore. There's some corrosion in there, and it's going to it could cause problems on the road other than just being annoying. And the noise drives me crazy, okay? So I fix it every single time because it really freaks me out. That's it, though. We don't ever have any problems with them. Obviously, you can see they're super smooth, durable. Every redfish that we've caught, actually, every redfish we've ever caught by a client has been caught on this reel. Well, last year, the year before model. They hold up great. We've caught red snapper on them. We've caught, obviously, bonita, Spanish, anything else you want to catch on them without any issues. Drag is smooth. Obviously, the reels are smooth. They hold up fantastic. And that's why we use them. That being said, I had a conversation earlier with somebody, and I really mean this. As a generation of anglers, we are super spoiled. We have the best gear that you can imagine. I want you to think back and think about your father or your grandfather. They used Mitchell whatever Penn 706s that wobbled, weren't smooth, plastic spools. They caught tarpon, cobia. They caught every fish you want to catch, marlin, picket. You don't need this $200 reel to go out and catch a redfish. We use them a lot, so we abuse them. So it's nice to have something I know that's not going to let us down. And that's the reason we use them. It's not going to let me down after I beat it to death. If you're looking to get into kayak fishing, you don't need this. If you're looking to get into wade fishing, you don't need this. A cheaper reel, a Sedona, a Sahara, any of those, a Penn Fierce, a Penn Battle, whatever, anything under $100, they will work fine, okay? Keep that in mind. I will put a link to this below. Obviously, they're available locally here at Broxton Outdoors. I'll put a link for the Cow's drag grease if you haven't used it. Highly recommend it. You're only going to use it, once, but it does a good job. I'd rather only use it once than use it 10 times. Outside of that, there's nothing to it. You guys got any questions? Comment below or shoot me an email at nick@navarrekayakfishing.com. I appreciate you guys taking the watch. I'm going to finish up the rest of these, and I hope you guys have a great day.